today we are talking about portrait photography. More importantly, a couple of things that you should keep in mind whenever you're going out to shoot pictures of people or on a proper portrait shoot. Now, before we start this video, I'd just like to say that I in no way consider myself a professional photographer by any means, but these are a few tips that I have gained from my own personal experience, and I thought why not share them with you guys so you guys could get my insights on portrait photography and apply them with a couple of things that you know to get the best possible results. With that being said, what's up guys, Anubhav here, and a couple of things I want you to do for me before we start this video. Head to the first link in the description. It'll open up my Instagram page, and in case you like the pictures that you see, in case you want to know what's happening behind the scenes of this channel and get involved with me more or talk to me in any possible way, be sure to hit that follow button. I'm trying to hit 10k pretty soon, and I would really appreciate if you could go ahead and do that. With that out of the way, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's shoot some amazing portraits. Okay guys, so starting up with tip number 1, the first tip that I want to give you guys might piss some of you off. It might be also extremely simple to some of you, but it is nailing the focus. Now I'm pretty sure as soon as you hear this, some guy in the comments is already typing, bro, you're clicking pictures, so the pictures have to be in focus. It's sort of a given. And you're right, but when you're doing portraits, you need to be more aware of this than ever, because if your subject is not in focus, that picture is trash. More importantly, in portrait photography, there are a couple of aspects that you need to know about focusing your subject on. So a good practice, which is like a thumb rule type for all portrait photographers, is focusing on the eye of the subject. So whenever you're going out to shoot, make sure you're obviously A, using manual focus, and B, make sure that the eyes of the subject are in proper focus, even in case you're using a fast lens which has a shallow depth of field. So be sure that the eyes are in focus. That would pretty much ensure that the entire upper face structure of your subject is in focus, and if that's done, your pictures will come out great because hey, your subject is in perfect focus. Let's move on to tip number 2. Okay, so tip number 2 is choosing the right background and ensuring that your background complements your image rather than contrasting your image or your subject that you're shooting. So an important part of this is looking at your background not just as a place where it's just present at the back of your image, but also thinking of the value that it is going to add to your overall image. So keep in mind your background will determine the mood, the vibe, everything that is associated with the picture that you're gonna put either on Instagram or on your portfolio. So you need to understand that a picture has the ability of saying 1,000 words, and everything that your picture comprises of, your aesthetics will be determined by the background itself. So keep in mind that. So for example, the picture that I shot over here right now that you'll see on the screen is basically a very urban hipster street style photography. So my background that I shot or I chose was a very high rooftop. It was on the 17th floor. It had these really cool shadows and structures with sharp edges as well as shadows falling on them, and I could use these things to my advantage because I was going for that hipster moody urban look. So keep in mind and focus on the right background. Your pictures will look absolutely amazing. Okay, now nailing the right background brings us to the third tip, and that is nailing the composition of your overall picture. Now a good practice for this is that before you actually take out your camera, start taking pictures out of the blue, have a clear idea of where you're going to shoot at and look at the place once you reach there. Look at the various structures, see if you can get some cool shadows, look at the leading lines, which are extremely important in case you want to get a good aesthetic vibe going in your pictures. And not only while looking at the place we are going to shoot, give you an overall greater idea of the overall area and help you click better pictures, it will also open up new ideas. For example, you just see a reflection of the light on some kind of a structure and it gives that brilliant light on your subject's face, and you've never thought of that before. It will give opportunities like that in case you know your background and composition well, and therefore result in a picture like this which would have never been thought of beforehand. Okay, so now we're talking about tip 4 and tip 5, and these mainly have to do with the subject that you're shooting. So whether it is a friend, whether it is your girlfriend, whether it is your mom, if it's anyone, whoever you're shooting in front, whoever is in front of the camera, Be sure to keep these 2 tips in mind before you start the photography process. Number 4, we're talking about accessories and accessorizing your subject. Now keep in mind, the most important aspect of portrait photography is the subject itself. Therefore, adding different accessories that will enhance your overall picture. Anything goes from prisms to fairy lights like the one in the background, all the way to sunglasses and different kinds of props that your subject may or may not use, which will overall boost the overall image, is something that you should use. And definitely, like for this shoot, I had a friend help out with me. I'll talk more about her in the end of this video. So I told her to bring 2 types of sunglasses beforehand because I knew I'm gonna be able to incorporate them in some way or the other. Even these fairy lights were carried by me to, get some Brandel vibe glowing. But what you need to understand is that you have to keep accessorizing your subject. You have to tell them beforehand what kind of clothes you want to wear, which again goes back to the background. So if you're shooting at a very traditional background, you don't want them to turn up in a crop top and a jeans. No, some Indian clothing will be better. So these are all the things that you need to keep in mind. Also, keep in mind, there is no right tool for this. There is no right prop that you must have. It's totally up to you, your creativity, your picture. You're the photographer. Go crazy with it. Just do whatever you want and get some good props. Your pictures will look good. Which brings us to tip number 5, and that is expressions of your subject. Now, keep in mind, the overall vibe of the photo will depend on the background, the composition, your clothing, the accessories, and the expressions. So if you're looking for a very moody picture, something like looking into the distant wilderness or like looking far, far away, would suit much, much more than being like smiling with all of your 32 teeth out. So what you need to do is play around with different expressions. A good practice for this is getting to know your subject. So if you're a professional and you've never met this person before, but he or she is paying you to do the shoot, make sure to sit down, have a cup of coffee, have a conversation, get to know their likes or dislikes, learn a couple of jokes that you can use in order to make them laugh whenever you're shooting. Because technically, not all of us are models, so we don't know how to pull off the perfect photo face. So you need to keep it natural. You need to keep telling them jokes, like treat them as your friend, so that they don't feel awkward, you don't feel awkward, and you get the most authentic looking, candid and natural shots. Expressions are highly important, especially in portrait photography. So be sure to keep these tips in mind whenever you're going out to shoot any kind of pictures of people. That is pretty much it for today's video. A huge shout out to Florocina, who helped out in today's video, who was the model for this shoot. She also has a YouTube channel, but she does beauty stuff. So any of the 5% of girls that watch me, in case you're interested in that, I'll leave the link to her Instagram profile as well as her YouTube handle down below. So you can go check that out and subscribe to her channel if you like the content that's going on. With that being said, that's been it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this new take that we did here on the channel. With that being said, this is Anubhav signing out. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and on Twitter. Drop a comment below about what you liked about this video or what you disliked. With that being said, I will catch you guys next time. Have a great day. Peace out.